And if this is really a need of the people, then how can you place this structure in our neighborhood where it is an inconspicuous structure and you have to meet our needs as the people and not what you want to put in there? So that's a time, and that's currently. We're fighting that battle today, and we'll keep fighting it until we go to the end. But that's the best way to work it out, is communication, sitting at the table and letting people know this is what we want, this is what we don't want. But if you're going to do this, this is how we want you to do it.
One of the things that you mentioned as an educational priority were quality teachers. Memphis City Schools has already begun work called the Teacher Effectiveness Initiative to ensure that there are great teachers in every classroom. As you see yourself on the council and talking about these educational issues, is that something you think that you could help fight for as we consolidate the districts, and if city funding could go to making sure we have great teachers in every classroom, or for other educational priorities after the county takes over funding obligations to the schools? Is that something you would be interested in looking at?
Yeah, I mean, anytime you're affecting the education of the youth of our area, the best way to do that is you have to have the best teachers possible to do this. We do have teachers currently, and that are there because of whatever particular reason, but they don't have that passion. You have to have a passion to be a teacher, and in order to have that passion, you want to hone your craft. So that means you're going to take all the necessary opportunities afforded to you to make sure that you are the best at what you do. And if there needs to be additional assistance with that, I think we need to do that, because the children are going to be a representation of what is being placed in that classroom before them. So yes.
How do you feel about after consolidation, and the city is no longer required to continue to fund the city schools? If the city were to provide Memphis to provide money to other programs such as Head Start, kind of the money that's been earmarked for public education, to have, what's your opinion on pre-K and the city funding pre-K programs?
Well, the foundation is met at that level. Pre-K is K 1, 2, and 3. I mean, you have to get your foundation there. I believe that you need to fund those programs.
When I say pre-K, I mean preschool.
Yeah,
preschool.
You got like those little
3-year-olds,
4-year-olds.
Right.
I believe you should fund those programs because they learn so early.
We have statistics that show that I think there's in Shelby County there's like 30,000 children that are eligible for like a Head Start program. But obviously there's not funding there to provide services to all those kids. How do you feel about?
They should have it. I think they should have the funding for those kids.
Do you think city funds should be used?
They're city children. Public education, I believe they should. I believe there should be funding allocated for all children on all levels. Pre-K just happens to be one of those levels that they need additional assistance. And we may need to reorganize the way we do what we do in funding the school system. And pre-K is very important. Like I said, they start young. And that's the best way to affect the change, is if you give them that strong foundation in 3, 4, and 5, and 6. That's the best way to do it.
What have you done in the past that you can point to that shows your commitment to public education? And when was the last time you've been in a Memphis City School that you volunteered in a Memphis City School?
As I stated before, being a tutor within the Memphis City School System with our children, our future. That's past and currently. I got information for it currently. So working around schedules is a challenge, but you try to make that 1 hour that they ask of you to do, to devote your time to the child. And that's what I've done. I've tried to tutor. And I'm also considered a neighborhood tutor. So all the children know that this is where you come if you need some help. I've sat up till 11, 12, 1 o'clock in the morning with science school projects. So I said, why would you wait till the last minute to come by? I didn't see your car. I was here. So, as far as being in the school system, I have been in the school system. I've watched the children. They're funny, and you learn a lot. You learn a lot from them and how they think. So that's what I've done.
The kids that you've tutored, what schools did they attend?
Dunbar.
And is that your neighborhood school?
That is a neighborhood school.
Okay.
I chose that one because it's actually right down the street.
Mm-hmm.
And then I also put Hanley Elementary as well.
Okay.
But they obviously, I'm not sure if they didn't need any assistance or whatever, but I got called for Dunbar. And I think Hanley was my second, and maybe Melrose and East or something with third and fourth, because they're around the vicinity where I am from work and at home. So.
Do you have a specific platform, your three, like if you were looking at 3 top issues as a city council member,
Mm-hmm.
that you would be walking in and wanting to focus on?
Mm-hmm.
And what are those?
Those 3, strengthening communities within our neighborhoods, building those back up, communications between our city officials and our neighborhoods as well. And the third one has been a toss-up, and it's economic development. And education falls in all of them, because in order to develop economically, you have to be educated enough to be able to do that. So economic development, strengthening communities, and communication between our elected officials and our communities and district. Those 3 are very important to me, because I've seen a lack of that. And we need to come back to grassroots. We need to go back to the people, because this is what you do. When you're elected, you're serving the people. It's not what I say, it's what you've said to me that I need to represent. And that's why I have done that's why I'm sitting here before you today, because that was my passion, to be the voice for the people.
Do you feel our current city council has that same mentality?
Some do. Yeah, I believe some do. I think some have done a great job in their communications with their district and their neighborhoods. And then on the other side, I believe some have not. They've lost focus on why they're there, and they need to be brought back to why you're there. And that's why I'm sitting here today, because you need to be brought back to that. The people are who you're representing, and do that.
You may have answered this before, so forgive me if this is redundant, but what are your ideas on how you would go about strengthening communities?
Okay, as I stated before, communication is very important. And one of the things that I would like to do is meet with your neighborhood leaders and actually the individuals, residents that live in the neighborhood. And then possibly form a neighborhood coalition of neighborhood leaders. The same issues that they have are across the board. And let's say just the district itself. Across the board, they have the same challenges. So I would like to hear from them what their challenges are, what their issues are, what are their problems. And then I would like to address them as best as possible. And this job is not an easy job. It's a job that you take on, and you knew you were going to take on that added-on responsibility. But I want to do the best that I can by the people. So whatever can be addressed in the short term, we're going to work on that. And whatever needs to be done in the long term, we're going to work on planning for that. And hopefully, if the job is done right, the next person that comes after you can take that up and keep it going. That's a true leader.
As a city council member, how would you feel about moving the meeting time?
Oh, I'm all for it. I'm going to tell you why. Because I've been to so many land use control board meetings, I have been to city council meetings, and people aren't able to get to these meetings because either they're too early in the morning, or usually that's what it is. They're too early. Most people have to work. You have to look at communities that have seniors within those communities. They're not able to get down there in a timely fashion if they have to get someone to take them down there. You have to look at if you're working. I have had the opportunity of flexibility. So I can do what I need to do to take care of my issues within my community. However,